xAI has just shown off its brand new model, Grok 3. According to Musk and 3 of xAI's engineers, Grok 3 is an order of magnitude better than Grok 2, which basically means it's about 10 times more powerful. xAI says they trained it in a massive data center in Memphis, Tennessee, featuring around 200,000 graphics processing units. Imagine a huge facility with rows and rows of GPUs churning through data 24/7. Some folks even call this the Colossus supercomputer, and Musk claims it's fueling Grok 3's massive potential. Now, how does Grok 3 stack up against big names like OpenAI's GPT-4o, Google's Gemini, and DeepSeek's models? According to xAI's internal benchmarks, Grok 3 actually beats these competitors in areas like math, science, coding, and problem solving. And the company specifically cites results on tests such as AIME, which is a math competition benchmark, and GPQA, which deals with PhD-level questions on physics, biology, and chemistry. For those of you who really pay attention to AI performance, xAI claims that even the smaller versions in the Grok 3 family are ranking well on Chatbot Arena, this online environment where you pit different AI models head-to-head and see which one does better based on real human votes. One interesting thing about Grok 3 is that it's not just a single model. There's a whole family under that umbrella. We've got Grok 3 Reasoning and Grok 3 Mini Reasoning, plus a standard Grok 3 and a mini version. The reasoning models are designed for more complex thought processes, basically chain of thought prompting that allows the AI to explain or at least internally structure its thought process before giving you an answer. But note that xAI says certain parts of Grok's reasoning are hidden to prevent distillation, which is a technique used by other developers to siphon off knowledge from an established model. So if you're hoping to rummage around in Grok's chain of thought, you might be out of luck. Anyway, what can Grok 3 actually do for you? So, it's integrated into a social media platform, X, and it's also available through a dedicated website, grok.com, and an iOS app. If you're on X's Premium Plus subscription tier, you can get immediate access to Grok 3. There's also something called Super Grok, which is a brand new tier for both the Grok mobile app and the grok.com site. Rumor has it that Super Grok might set you back around $30 a month or $300 a year, although these prices haven't been super clearly confirmed. Once you jump in, you'll see a bunch of new features. For instance, there's something called Deep Search, which is basically Grok's advanced research tool, scanning the internet, scanning data on X, and giving you these super detailed summaries. You can even narrow down your search to specific sources or websites if you want. Another neat trick is Big Brain Mode, which basically tells Grok 3 to spend more time thinking so it can give you a more comprehensive answer. That's especially helpful if you're tackling complicated science or coding questions. And as if that wasn't enough, Musk says a voice mode is on the horizon, probably within a week. That'll let you interact with Grok 3 using spoken commands and have it respond with a synthesized voice, kind of how ChatGPT or Google's systems can do nowadays.
Hey Grok, what's up?
Can you hear me? I'm so excited to finally meet you. I can't wait to chat and learn more about each other. I'll talk to you soon.
During a demo, the xAI team showed Grok 3 mapping out a hypothetical space mission from Earth to Mars, makes sense given Musk's other big venture, SpaceX, and also coding a game that was described as a cross between Tetris and Bejeweled. So if you're into game development, coding, or just messing around with an AI that can generate entire mini-apps, Grok 3 could be a blast to play with. Another demonstration had it do advanced math and science problem solving in real time, and some glimpses also showed it can produce images and handle queries about images, which puts it in the same league as the multimodal capabilities of GPT-4 or Google Gemini. Naturally, with these new features, xAI is pushing further into direct competition with OpenAI. Let's not forget the recent drama. Musk filed 2 lawsuits against OpenAI, accusing them of straying from their founding principles, and he even offered to buy their nonprofit arm for $97.4 billion. A deal that Sam Altman obviously turned down. There's definitely some tension there. And to add to that, both companies are raising huge sums of money. Word on the street says Musk is looking for $10 billion for xAI, which would push the company's valuation up to around $75 billion. Meanwhile, OpenAI might raise up to $40 billion at a valuation that could hit $300 billion. But xAI's not just competing with OpenAI. They've got eyes on Google, which has Gemini, and also on Chinese AI powerhouse DeepSeek, which recently open-sourced its R1 model. That's a big step in the AI arms race because open-sourcing advanced models can let new players jump into the field more easily. Elon Musk, on the other hand, said that xAI will open-source Grok 2 only once Grok 3 is mature and stable, which he thinks might be a few months from now. That might be consistent with xAI's approach of giving away the older stuff once the newer version is locked and loaded. Now, all of this might sound pretty rosy, but building these massive AI models isn't cheap. On top of having a giant GPU data center in Memphis, xAI is rumored to be finalizing a deal with Dell Technologies to get more than $5 billion worth of AI-optimized servers. Meanwhile, there's a broader push by companies like SoftBank, Oracle, MGX from Abu Dhabi, and OpenAI to pool around $100 billion and potentially up to $500 billion in order to construct more AI data centers in the US. It's basically an AI arms race, with all these corporations throwing billions of dollars into bigger and faster computing infrastructure. One of the more interesting angles to Grok 3 is its edgy approach. When Musk initially rolled out the original Grok family, he promised it would be unfiltered and capable of going into topics that other AIs avoid, maybe out of caution or because of content rules. But after a while, testers found that Grok and Grok 2 still refused certain political or controversial queries. Musk has said that's more a reflection of the dataset it was trained on, web content that has its own biases, and that xAI wants to keep pushing the model to be as politically neutral as possible. Whether that's actually the case for Grok 3 is still an open question. People will definitely be testing it to see if it's leaning left, right, or if it's truly in the middle. Now, if you're an Android user, you might be a bit bummed to hear that the dedicated Grok app is only on iOS right now. However, you can still use Grok within the main X app on Android. No official word yet on when a standalone Android Grok app will roll out, but presumably they won't leave Android folks hanging for too long. They do keep repeating that updates are happening daily, and improvements are basically ongoing. In fact, Musk stated that you might notice changes in Grok's performance within just 24 hours, which is pretty wild if you think about how fast these large language models can adapt once you feed them updated data or refine their parameters. We also shouldn't forget that business applications are a huge piece of the puzzle. Musk mentioned that in a few weeks, Grok 3 will be available through xAI's Enterprise API. That means big companies can integrate Grok's capabilities right into their own platforms. If you work in finance, coding, or any research-heavy field, that might be a game changer. Potential use cases include code generation, debugging, fraud detection, advanced data analysis, or even medical diagnosis.
Well, welcome to the Grok 3 presentation. So the mission of xAI and Grok is to understand the universe. We want to understand the nature of the universe so we can figure out what's going on, where are the aliens, what's the meaning of life, how does the universe end, how did it start, all these fundamental questions. We're driven by curiosity about the nature of the universe, and that's also what causes us to be a maximally truth-seeking AI, even if that truth is sometimes at odds with what is politically correct. In order to understand the nature of the universe, you must absolutely rigorously pursue truth, or you will not understand the universe. You will be suffering from some amount of delusion or error. So that is our goal, figure out what's going on. And we're very excited to present Grok 3, which is, we think, an order of magnitude more capable than Grok 2 in a very short period of time. And that's thanks to the hard work of an incredible team. And I'm honored to work with such a great team. And of course, we'd love to have some of the smartest humans out there join our team. So with that, let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Igor, lead engineering at xAI.
I'm JB Paul, leading research.
I'm Tony, working on the reasoning team.
All right, I'm Elon. I don't do anything. I just show up occasionally.
Yeah, so like Elon mentioned, Grok is the tool that we're working on. Grok is our AI that we're building here at XAI, and we've been working extremely hard over the last few months to improve Grok as much as we can, so we can give it to all of you, so we can give all of you access to it. We think it's going to be extremely useful. We think it's going to be interesting to talk to, funny, really, really funny, and we're going to explain to you how we've improved Grok over the last few months. We've made quite a jump in capabilities.
Yeah, actually, we should explain maybe also why do we call it Grok? So Grok is a word from a Heinlein novel, Stranger in a Strange Land. And it's used by a guy who was raised on Mars. And the word Grok is to sort of fully and profoundly understand something. That's what the word Grok means, fully and profoundly understand something.
And empathy is important.
True.
So, yeah, if we charted XAI's progress in the last few months, it's only been 17 months since we started kicking off our very first model. Grok 1 was almost like a toy by this point, only 314 billion parameters. And now if we plot the progress, the time on the x-axis, the performance of favorite benchmark numbers, MMLU, on the y-axis, we're literally progressing at unprecedented speed across the whole field. And then we kick off Grok 1.5 right after Grok 1, released after November 2023, and then Grok 2. So if we look at where all the performance coming from, when you have a very correct engineering team and all the best AI talent, the only one thing we need is a big intelligence comes from big cluster. So we can reconvert the entire progress of XAI, now replacing the benchmark on the y-axis to the total amount of training flops. That is, how many GPUs we can run at any given time to train our large language models, to compress the entire internet. So after Grok 2...
All human knowledge, really.
That's right.
Yeah, internet being part of it, but it's really all human knowledge, everything.
Yeah, the whole internet fits into a USB stick at this point.
It's like all the human tokens, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very soon into the real world.
Yeah.
So we had so much trouble, actually, training Grok 2 back in the days. We kicked off the model around February, and we thought we had a large amount of chips, but turned out we can barely get 8K training chips running coherently at any given time. And we had so many cooling and power issues. I think you were there in the data center.
Yeah, it was like really sort of more like 8K chips on average at 80% efficiency, more like 6,500 effective H100s training for several months, but now we're at 100K.
Yeah, that's right.
More than 100K.
That's right. So what's the next step, right? So after Grok 2, so if we want to continue to accelerate, we have to take the matter into our own hands. We have to solve all the coolings, all the power issues, and everything.
Yeah. So in April of last year, Elon decided that really the only way for XAI to succeed, for XAI to build the best AI out there, is to build our own data center. So we didn't have a lot of time, right, because we wanted to give you Grok 3 as quickly as possible. So really, we realized we have to build the data center in about 4 months. It turned out it took us 122 days to get the first 100K GPUs up and running, and that was a monumental effort to be able to do that. We believe it's the biggest fully connected H100 cluster of its kind. And we didn't just stop there. We actually decided that we need to double the size of the cluster pretty much immediately if we want to build the kind of AI that we want to build. So we then had another phase, which we haven't talked about publicly yet, so this is the first time that we're talking about this, where we doubled the capacity of the data center yet again, and that one only took us 92 days. So we've been able to use all of these GPUs, use all of this compute to improve Grok in the meantime, and basically today we're going to present you the results of that, the fruits that came from that.
That's right.
So let's
so all the paths, all the roads leads to Grok 3. 10x more compute.
More than 10x, really.
Yeah, really.
Like maybe 15x.
Yep, compared to our previous generation model. And Grok 3 finished the pre-training early January. And then we started, the model is still currently training, actually. So this is a little preview of our benchmark numbers. So we evaluated Grok 3 on 3 different categories: on general mathematical reasonings, on general knowledge about STEM and science, and then also on computer science, coding. So AIME, American Invitational Math Examination, hosted once a year. And if we evaluate the model performance, we can see that the Grok 3 across the board is in a league of its own. Even its little brother, Grok 3 Mini, is reaching the frontier across all the other competitors. So you would say, well, at this point, all these benchmarks, you're just evaluating the memorization of the textbooks, memorization of the GitHub repos. How about the real-time usefulness? How about we actually use those models in our product? So what we did instead is we actually kicked off a blind test of our Grok 3 model, codenamed Chocolate. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, hot chocolate.
Been running on this platform called Chatbot Arena for 2 weeks. I think the entire X platform at some point speculated this might be the next generation of AI coming our way. So how this Chatbot Arena works is that it strips away the entire product surface, right? It's just raw comparison of the engine of those AGIs, the language models themselves, and place the interface where the user will submit one single query, and you get to show 2 responses. You don't know which model they come from, and in the end, you make the vote. So in this blind test, Grok 3, an early version of Grok 3, already reached like 1,400. No other models has reached an ELO score, head-to-head comparison to all the other models at this score. And it's not just one single category. It's 1,400 aggregated across all the categories in chatbot capabilities, instruction following, coding. So it's #1 across the board in this blind test.
And it's still climbing, so we actually have to keep updating it. So it's 1,400, above 1,400 and climbing.
Yeah, in fact, we have a version of the model that we think is already much better than the one that we tested here.
Yeah.
We'll see, how far it gets, but that's the one that we're, working on, or talking about today.
Yeah. So actually, one thing, if you're using Grok 3, I think you may notice improvements almost every day because we're continuously improving the model. So literally, even within 24 hours, you'll see improvements.
Yep. But we believe here at XAI, getting the best pre-training model is not enough. That's not enough to build the best AI. And the best AI need to think like a human. You need to contemplate about all the possible solutions, self-critique, verify all the solutions, backtrack, and also think from the first principle. That's a very important capability. So we believe that as we take the best pre-trained model and continue training it with reinforcement learning, it will elicit the additional reasoning capabilities that allows the model to become